You're very welcome along after the highest rated sport on TV this weekend of 2026 last week. Can this week beat it? You got to stay tuned to the end to find out, as we start with Friday. And Friday's action, I've included most things. Again, I've tried to include everything. The only notable exception, maybe Super League is back with Rugby League. I tend to leave them out of this. If people really want me to include them, I will. But you can find the full details of this on my Twitter page, or the full list in total. But we start Friday, 1:15, LIV Adelaide, live on TNT Sports. And incidentally, TNT Sports have all the LIV events throughout 2026. So look, decent watch when you have the likes of Bryson and John Ram in contention going into the Sunday. And of course, there's 72 holes this year. I put this out on a short. LIV is 54 in Roman numericals. So yeah, bit of a rebrand perhaps for LIV throughout 2026. The World T20 World Cup is currently in action. You can see Australia versus Zimbabwe live at 5:30, Canada versus the UAE at 9:30, or if you want, the US versus the Netherlands, that's live at 1:30. All games live on Sky throughout the next couple of weeks. The Winter Olympics continues. BBC TNT Sports, that's from 8 a.m. Friday, and is the same on Saturday and Sunday as well. What else we got? We got the Saudi Ladies International, that's Friday and Saturday, concludes on Saturday, final round on Saturday, that is. And then we move throughout Friday. We have Dortmund versus Mainz, that's YouTube. Went through a lot of this in more details on the Football on TV this weekend, but Bundesliga games on a Friday continue to be free on YouTube. We got the Fitzgibbon Cup final, that's from Croke Park, live at 7:35 on TG Car. Bit 50-50 on the Croke Park move. I did like the idea of a weekend, college weekends like it used to be in a certain location, but I'd be interested in what the players think of that, because again, playing in Croke Park, there's nothing better, particularly for a college student that might ordinarily not get an opportunity if they're not quite at the inter-county level. Before we get to Ireland, Italy on Saturday, with the small matters of the under-20s hosting them live on RT at 7:45, and then a lot of the football I ran through, but the League of Ireland's back. It's headlined by Shells versus Rovers on Virgin Media, Hull versus Chelsea, Louis Mercigne managing Chelsea, going to his former club Hull City. And then what else we got? Yeah, right up until all the League of Ireland Premier and First Division games listed there. Let's go to Saturday, LIV Adelaide again, and Ireland versus Oman. Ireland, couple of missed opportunities, did okay against Sri Lanka, Australia, but 2 defeats. They need to beat Oman, beat Zimbabwe, hope results go our way. So we won't probably progress to the Super 8s, but it'd be great to get a T20 World Cup victory. That's a 5:30. England versus Scotland. Nepal very much should have and could have beaten England and play Scotland live 9:30 on Sky. And in the final World T20 Cup game, it's New Zealand versus South Africa. That's live from 1:30 again on Sky Sports. Going through the rest of the action, we've got EFL matches, Sky Plus for any of the games featuring League 1 and League 2 teams out of the FA Cup. Burton versus West Ham in the FA Cup, that's the TNT game. And if you fast forward to 5:30 or 5:45, you can see Villa versus Newcastle. That's on BBC and TNT Sports. Six Nations, as I touched on, Ireland, Italy, 2:10, big game. Ireland are 18.5-point favourites for this. I don't know if I'd have us that heavy favourites given how well Italy did last week. They seem to have a very solid scrum. I think they've won 4 of their last 11 Six Nations games, so they're not the pushover they have been in previous years. That's 2:10 from the Aviva. And then we've got 20-5 Scotland versus England, and as most people are saying all week, it'll be the most typical Scotland/Gregor Townsend thing to beat this England side after that disaster away to Italy in the rain. That's 20-5, Virgin Media and ITV for both those games. What else we got? We got a lot of rugby. Top 14 continues because France are playing on Sunday, so a lot of the games are top 14 triple header on Premier Sports throughout the day. Kerry versus Galway in the league, that's RTE game from 5 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock Croke Park, Dublin versus Monaghan. Both sides under massive pressure, need the 2 points if they want to avoid relegation to Division 2. We've got Rovers Bows, Inter Juventus at the same time, and then it concludes the football action with Liverpool versus Brighton from the FA Cup on TNT Sports from 8 p.m. Very bad at asking this, but if you can take 2 seconds and subscribe completely for free to the YouTube channel, if you're getting something out of this, because 90+% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, it would make a massive difference, help me continue making this content, so it would be much appreciated. And hit that like button again if you're enjoying it, and as always, comments are encouraged, both good and bad. LIV Adelaide concludes 1:15. The 3 T20 World Cup games we have: West Indies, Nepal, mentioned their performance against England, that's 5:30. USA versus Namibia, that's 9:30. And then we have India versus Pakistan. That game wasn't going to take place at one point. There was a bit of debate, but it is taking place 1:30 live on Sky Sports from Sri Lanka. We've got the Eredivisie game at 11:15 on Premier Sports. We've got Birmingham versus Leeds in the FA Cup. FA Cup sees a lot of games around the 2 o'clock mark there, but 4:30 Arsenal versus Wigan is the main slot there on TNT Sports. Touched on this in a couple of videos already, but the Scottish Premiership title race is really heating up, and they've got a bit of a Super Sunday on Sky Sports. So Kilmarnock versus Celtic at 2 o'clock, and then 4:30 sees Rangers versus Hearts. There was a full midweek card, a lot of results. I'll break it down in more details in a separate video. I'll leave that in the comments if you have more interest in what's going on in Scotland, but there's a lot, and I think Hearts are in the driving seat at the moment, but Rangers and Celtic hunting them down. The GAA action, it's all Gaelic football this week, incidentally, in the National Leagues. Donegal versus Mayo, 1:45. Roscommon versus Armagh, that's the TG Cahir app, and Donegal Mayo, incidentally, TG Cahir. And then in the primetime slot, Tyrone versus Cavan, 3:45. A big game at the bottom of Division 2 there. Obviously, you don't want to get relegated to Division 3 with the chances of not playing in Sam Maguire if you don't reach your provincial final. Pebble Beach, I never really touched on, but the final round, it sees Scotty and Rory in action. Live from 4 o'clock on Sunday, and hopefully one or both of them are in contention. And Sunday evening action, you've got the likes of Napoli versus Roma. If tennis is your thing, you got the Dallas final. Live from 7 o'clock, League Sunday highlight show, along with Match of the Day, concludes this Sunday. So, as I said, always grateful for a weekend of sport. Wasn't quite at what we had last week. We had Super Bowl action. There's no NFL action here. And it is going to be a mid-6 rating again, 6.4, because we're always grateful for sports. So rarely goes below the 6, but I am waiting for a blockbuster rating to boost it up to 8, etc. So 6.4 puts it middle of the pack for 2026. But let me know your thoughts on, do you think it's a good weekend in general for sport, or maybe I'm a tad harsh? But enjoy the weekend sport nonetheless, and I'll chat to you hopefully in a video next week.